Hi, my name is Mitchell Peterson, and today I would like to talk about management. Specifically, I want to talk about good managers, bad managers, and great managers. So I've always noticed, I think everybody does when they work with a manager, what category they'd fall in. And we all like to think of ourselves as a great manager when we're managing people, of course. But I want to talk about a little bit about the difference between the three and how we can progress into the next level if we are lower. And my goal at the end of the day is for each of us to be able to see what kind of managers we are, to evaluate ourselves, and then that we can go forward and see what we need to do to be able to be better in whatever sense. So first I want to highlight one big clarification, and that is that leader and manager are very different things. A manager is somebody that is over people, that is in charge of a group of people and is making sure that they do their job correctly, or is in charge of reporting for them. But a leader is someone that people look up to, that people follow. I have a definition right here that the word lead has a couple different meanings depending on how it's used. If it's used as a verb, it says to cause a person or animal to go with one by holding them by the hand, a halter, or a rope while moving forward. So you are in front and you are bringing people with you. The second is a noun, and it says the initiative in action, and it is an example for others to follow. So both sense, a noun and a verb, the leader is somebody that is in front of everyone else and everyone else is following them. Now, I don't think that means to be in a physical sense where they're in front and everybody else is behind. They're better than them, but more of they know what they're doing and they're guiding their team behind them. So one example of good versus bad, and the difference between the two is that good managers know how to be a leader, bad managers do not. Bad managers, their main goal is themselves. They're there to get the job done, but do as little as possible. In my experience, I've seen that the bad managers are there for themselves to make money. They can make whatever business they're doing, they can make it run, but long term it isn't as effective because they aren't there to support their team. Their team doesn't love them because they're bad managers. They're only looking out for themselves. And then good managers, they are looking out for the team. They are part of the team, and I think that is a huge point, is that the good manager is part of the team. They're doing the work with the people around them. They're not there just for themselves. And I think that's something that really makes a big difference. So in preparing this presentation, I went and I made a Venn diagram. Now we've all used these, especially in elementary school we have them. But I've got good managers, bad managers, and what both of them are. So a good manager, the biggest thing is that they're a leader, and then the bad manager is that they work for themselves. They don't work for everyone else. Another thing that I noticed with bad managers is that an article I read said that they bark orders. So they're always telling everyone what to do, and a good manager explains what to do. Now, when it comes to explanation versus telling, if you have a manager that says, do this way all the time, no one knows why, but everybody does it if they want to follow the manager, and that's all they know, is that they do it that way because Joe Smith said so and he's the boss. But on the other hand, if we have Joe Smith, who is a good manager, as a good manager, he's going to explain, we're going to do this way because it protects the company, or it makes you learn how to do this process a little bit better, whatever the reason may be. Explaining to your employees helps them to understand, oh, there is a logical reason why, and I want to do it that way because it makes sense to the boss, it makes sense to me, and the end goal is the same, but the end goal is better for everyone. So that's something that's called top-down management, is that the manager makes the decision and can either tell or explain to his team what can be done. A big difference between good and great managers is that top-down management. I've noticed that great managers very seldom use top-down management. They like to focus on their team being a team. And so something that I read, that it's called lean management, and Toyota Corporation actually uses this a lot with their head managers. And this lean management, one thing that they do is that they expect their employees to be part of the decision-making process. So instead of the manager at Toyota telling everyone else, this is why we're going to do it, and this is the decision, they actually open up and say, here is a problem that we're having. Now we need your help to think of a solution. And I've read many examples of this. They're in a classroom setting. You can have an entrepreneur come in. I had a classroom that this happened. An entrepreneur came in and said, okay, what are we going to do to solve this problem, whatever it was? And opening it up that way, you have the classic few scenarios that people are going to suggest. But going past that, people started thinking out of the box. And you've got a room of 80, 100 kids that are all think of different solutions to this one problem. And that's really where problem solving can happen, because instead of one person trying to think of the solution, you've got 100 people. And so in Toyota's case, when they think of this one problem and they have a group of people trying to solve it, each person brings something new to the table, some different thinking and a different idea. And so a great manager allows his team to help them make that decision and personalize that decision for themselves. And by doing so, not only are they going to follow it, not only are they going to understand it, but it's their goal. And so they're going to follow it, they're going to help other people follow it, and everyone's going to be in agreement of why this is a good goal, why this is a good rule, and why this is helping the company, because they made that decision and they feel part of the process. So good managers want their team to succeed and are there to help them. Great managers use their team as the best resource that they are. Another thing that great managers do is they help their team to grow. Because a great manager can look at someone and see their potential and utilize that potential not only for their own gain or for the team's gain, but also to help that person grow into a leadership role later. And something I've noticed with bad managers, to show a little bit of contrast between good and bad and great managers, is that bad managers oftentimes are a little worried about other people progressing because that endangers them, right? They're the boss, they want to stay the boss and have the benefits of that. And if somebody else is coming up and working their way up because they're a great employee, then that threatens their position. But on the other hand, a great manager sees that growth as something to help the company, help the team, and to make that person a better employee. Now, a great manager, when they have someone on their team who's growing into a great manager as well, has the opportunity to progress in the company themselves. They can move up higher because the higher-ups above them are going to see that their team is working fantastically. They've got a few good employees and a few great employees that have the potential to be great leaders and great managers. So one of those great managers can be the leader of that team, the manager of that team, and the original manager can move up. So that's something that great managers keep in perspective, is that if one person is growing, not only do they benefit if one person is progressing, but everyone does. Everyone has the opportunity to be better because of their management skills. So to sum up, bad managers, good managers, and great managers have one huge characteristic that separates them, and that's leadership. Leadership is not something that is necessarily learned. It is something that's developed, that is not born into you, but is developed over time, and it can be learned. And as a great manager helps his team to learn that and to learn those skills that he or she has, then everyone benefits. So last thing that I want to say is, like I said at the beginning, is I want us each to look at ourselves and see what we can do to be able to evaluate ourselves and to grow into management ourselves and to grow into better leaders. So the first thing is we need to look at ourselves and our reasons for why we work with other employees the way we do, why we act the way we do, and what our reason is for our decisions. That'll help us determine what category we're in. And if there's other categories or things that you think can put you in a category, then feel free. This is a very personal self-examination. And once you decide what category you're in, then set goals. Goals are a huge thing in personal life and business. Set goals to decide what you can do to progress into the next category. If you're a bad manager, you've got some changes you need to make. You need to learn how to work with employees, how to develop those leadership categories, and how you can help the business and help those on your team. If you believe that you're a good manager, then well done, kudos to you. But continue to look for those things that you can do to involve your team and help them progress. And if you're a great manager, then keep it up, keep going, and keep helping your team to learn how to do those things as well. So I invite you all to do this and to help your teams and help your businesses grow. Thank you.